live from New Delhi. You're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Sakal Bhattan, coming up in the next 30 minutes. EU says prepared for end of Russian gas era. Moldova in a state of emergency while Slovakia threatens Kyiv with retaliation. South Korea's presidential aides offer to resign amid political crises. Pro-Yoon protests intensify after investigators vow to execute an arrest warrant. Romania, Bulgaria join Borderless Schengen zone after 13-year wait, move to boost GDP and reduce border wait time. And revelers across the world ushered in 2025 with prayers for a peaceful year, devoid of conflicts and turmoil. Eastern European nations face energy crises, prompting fears of a harsh winter ahead as Ukraine has refused to renew its 2019 gas transit deal with Russia. Slovakia, Moldova and Bulgaria were among the most affected by these supply drops. Kyiv's immediate neighbor, Bratislava, has threatened retaliation, saying his government would consider reciprocal measures against Ukraine, such as halting backup electricity supplies if it stopped the gas transit. Fico, who has been critical of the European Union's support to Kyiv, last week travelled to Moscow to meet Putin, anticipating a stoppage of a gas flow. While Moldova has declared...
In world politics, it absolutely applies that it doesn't matter whether elephants love or fight. The grass always suffer. I don't want Slovakia to be such grass, as we see these days when the transit of gas through Ukraine is stopped, which will have drastic impacts on all of us in the European Union, but not on Russian Federation.
While Moldova has declared a state of emergency, Transnistria, a breakaway pro-Russian region of Moldova also reliant on the transit flows, cut off heating and hot water supplies to households early on Wednesday. According to authorities, they do not know how long the situation would last. Bulgaria, on its part, had confirmed its readiness to provide Moldova with gas supply assistance. Bulgarian Energy Minister announced that both sides signed a memorandum on crisis response cooperation in the energy sector. Also, almost a third of the Russian gas sold to Europe was transported via Kyiv's territory, and the remainder is transported via a pipeline under the Black Sea to Bulgaria, Serbia and Hungary, or else by the shipments of LNG. The European Commission has played down the impact of a halt of Russian gas exports to Europe via Ukraine, saying the stop was expected and that the bloc was prepared for it. A spokesperson for the European Commission said the European gas infrastructure is flexible enough to provide gas of non-Russian origin to Central and Eastern Europe via alternative routes. The spokesperson added that it has been reinforced with significant new LNG import capacity since 2022. And staying with some more news from the region, residents from Romania and Bulgaria can now travel freely in the Schengen area, ending their 13-year-long wait. The combined 25 million residents of both the countries now join nearly 450 million EU citizens who already have the freedom to move around the Schengen zone after land border checks were officially lifted. The duo first joined the European Union 17 years ago, and negotiations to enter the Schengen area began in 2011. When the European Commission gave the green light to the countries in December, it marked an important signal to citizens of the two countries that they could now feel like fully fledged members of the European Union. Now, full membership will boost GDP and reduce border wait times. For better understanding, we now show you the map of the European Union and the Schengen zone after Romania and Bulgaria joined the zone. The Schengen zone was first established in 1985 and now it includes 29 countries, most of which are EU nations, as well as some non-EU countries including Iceland and Switzerland. In a dramatic twist, senior aides to South Korea's President Yoon Suk Yeol have tendered their collective resignations a day after acting President Choi Sang-mok appointed 2 justices to the Constitutional Court. Yoon's Chief of Staff, Policy Chief, National Security Advisor and Special Advisor on Foreign Affairs and Security, as well as all other senior secretaries, tendered their resignation. Despite the mass resignation offer, acting President Choi has chosen to reject it, stating that the immediate focus should be on bolstering the nation's economy and stabilizing governmental affairs. The aides have repeatedly offered to step down since Yoon's miscalculated attempt to impose martial law early last month. Any decision in the Yoon case will require the agreement of at least 6 judges. South Korean investigators have said that they would execute an arrest warrant for Yoon Suk Yeol for over his declaration of martial law by the deadline of January 6. Supporters and opponents of Yoon, who was suspended from office by lawmakers over his attempt to subvert civilian rule last month, have been camped outside the compound where he has been holed up for weeks. The Corruption Investigation Office requested the warrant after Yoon failed to report for questioning a third time, but it has been unclear whether they could execute it, as the Presidential Security Service have previously refused to comply with search warrants. CIO Chief Oh Dong-woon says the Wednesday warrant would be executed within the deadline, which is on Monday, the January 6th. He also warned that anyone trying to block authorities from arresting Yoon could themselves face prosecution. And now let's move on to some updates on South Korea plane crash. As the investigations continue into the specific cause of the Jeju Air plane crash, authorities on Wednesday have announced that all 179 of those who died have been identified. The Central Disaster and Safety Countermeasure Headquarters confirmed the identities of the last 5 victims who had not been previously identified. Country's acting President Choi Sang-mok at disaster response meeting said the process had finally been completed and that more bodies had been handed over to relatives so that they could hold funerals. Victims' families will, for the first time, be taken to the site to pay their respects later in the day.
Identification of all 179 victims were completed overnight. The bodies of victims were transferred to their family members, and funeral services have started after the bodies of victims arrived at funeral halls. Currently, South Korea's investigators, along with the US National Transportation Safety Board and manufacturer, are conducting a joint investigation of the cause of the accident. The cause of the accident will be revealed by comprehensively analyzing and reviewing detailed investigations of the aircraft, fuselage and black box.
사고 원인이 밝혀질 것입니다.
Meanwhile, South Korea's Transport Ministry said that flight data recorder of the ill-fated plane will be sent to the United States for analysis. Investigators probing the Jeju air crash have extracted the initial data from one of the Boeing 737-800 black boxes. According to the Deputy Minister for Civil Aviation, Ju Jong-won, the initial extraction has already been completed for the cockpit voice recorder, and experts are still determining the method to extract data from the second black box, the flight data recorder. And moving on to some news coming in from France, where a rare moment of contrition of sorts, French President Emmanuel Macron has recognized that his decision to call early parliamentary polls in June had created more political instability in the country. Macron shocked the nation halfway through 2024 by calling early elections a gamble that backfired when voters delivered a hung parliament with a big increase in fair-right lawmakers, diluting Macron's power. In a televised address ahead of the New Year celebrations, Emmanuel Macron said the disillusion caused more divisions in the Assembly than solutions for the French people.
I must acknowledge this evening that my decision to dissolve the French National Assembly has brought more instability to the Assembly than solutions for the French. If I decided that dissolution, it was to give you back the flow, to regain clarity and avoid the inaction that was looming. But lucidity and humility lead me to recognize that, at this time, this decision leads to more instability than serenity, and I take my responsibility.
Et menace notre sécurité, notre unité, notre économie.
People all over the world are celebrating New Year 2025, ushering in the beginning of this spectacular year. Well, we begin with London, where London rang in the new year with a spectacular fireworks display on Wednesday. River Thames and city skyline provided a stunning backdrop for the dazzling spectacle as the iconic Big Ben struck midnight. The festivities went ahead despite much of the UK being subjected to severe weather warnings for the coming week, with heavy rainfall and strong winds due to affect parts of Scotland, Northern Ireland and Northern England. From London to New York, after standing in New York City's Times Square for hours and hours, thousands of revelers cheered in the new year with the annual ceremony of a descending crystal-clad wall. Many had arrived early in the morning for the spot in one of the barricaded pens set up by the New York Police Department ahead of the musical performances by Megan Thee Stallion and Rita Ora. Meanwhile, Brazil entered into 2025 at 8 a.m. as per Indian Standard Time. Millions of revelers gathered on Rio de Janeiro's famed Copacabana beach for the celebrations. People were entertained throughout by spectacular performances from musicians such as Sestano Veloso, Maria Bethania and Iveth Sangalo, as well as Anitta. Concerts were also held at other venues in Rio, with a total of 13 stages spread across the city. And in Japan, people flocked to Tokyo's Meiji Shrine on Wednesday and prayed for a peaceful new year. The country went through major tragedies in the beginning of the year 2024, including a massive earthquake that killed more than 500 people and a major airplane crash at the Haneda airport on January 2nd. Therefore, for many this year, the wish is to have a safe and peaceful year ahead. Shifting focus to neighbouring Nepal, where lakhs of domestic and international tourists flocked on the streets of Pokhara to celebrate New Year 2025, with live music being played across the streets. On the Piwa lakeside, the road had turned into large dance floor. Plethora of food shops on the open streets in 26th International Street Festival made entering into New Year from previous year all fun, filled with the fair with music, food, dance for tourist and tourism capital of Nepal, Kathmandu. And New Year celebrations in India were colourful. They continue to be colourful blend of local traditions, cultural practices, modern day festivities, making occasion a vibrant and diverse celebration across the country. Let us now take a look at how the country marked this special occasion in different regions.
India welcomed the year 2025 with celebrations across the country as people in various cities marked the occasion with joy and enthusiasm. Large crowds of devotees gathered at temples and ghats, marked by the blowing of conch shells and clanging of puja bells, to welcome 2025 with great fervour and joy. In Puri, devotees flocked to the Sri Jagannath temple and Puri beach to usher in the new year with hope and enthusiasm. A massive turnout was also witnessed at Sri Venkateshwara Swami temple in southern state of Andhra Pradesh, where devotees gathered to offer prayers and mark the beginning of the new year. Meanwhile, a large number of devotees also attended the Bhasma Aarti of Sri Mahakaleshwar Jyotirling temple in central state of Madhya Pradesh. On the other hand, various parties, cultural events, live music performances and themed decorations were also organized across the nation to welcome the new year. In Mumbai, beaches like Juhu, Chowpatty and Versova were packed with revelers. People also gathered at Marine Drive to watch the fireworks. In Himachal Pradesh's Manali, a popular tourist destination, crowds danced and cheered in the streets. Whereas huge crowds also gathered in West Bengal and Tamil Nadu to welcome the New Year 2025 with dance and music. Bureau Report, DD India.
And still to come on this edition of DD India Live, coming up next on the other side. On its 20th anniversary, Quad renews pledge towards working for free, stable Indo-Pacific. And India's One Nation, One Subscription scheme comes into effect. Nearly 18 million students and academicians get access to scholarly research articles from today. And as all eyes are on Prayagraj, Indian Railways to operate over 3,000 special trains for Mahak.
Watch India's groundbreaking strategies in cyclone management, where innovation meets resilience. Tune in to discover how India is leading the way in cyclone preparedness and response, pioneering cyclone solutions, saving lives and protecting communities. Watch DD India's exclusive insight on cutting-edge cyclone management techniques. Join us as we explore India's revolutionary approach to tackling cyclones head-on. The 1st of January 2025 at 6:30 PM IST or 12 PM GMT on Wednesday, only on DD India.
You're watching DD India Live. I'm Sakalbert. Now let's move on. Reaffirming commitment to addressing the region's needs together, India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar, along with his Australian and Japanese and US counterparts, issued a joint statement on Tuesday commemorating the 20th anniversary of Quad cooperation. The joint statement mentioned Quad nations contributing over 40,000 emergency responders work together to provide critical relief. They emphasized that their commitment to humanitarian assistance remains strong, continuing efforts to address natural disasters and humanitarian crises. On this occasion, they also reaffirmed the grouping's steadfast commitment to work towards a free, open and peaceful Indo-Pacific. As four partners, they also reaffirmed their unwavering support for ASEAN's centrality and unity, as well as mainstreaming and implementation of the ASEAN outlook on Indo-Pacific. They said in the statement that the group respects Pacific-led regional architecture, foremost the Pacific Islands Forum, and is also steadfast in support for the Indian Ocean Rim Association, the region's premier organization. In its first meeting of 2025, India's cabinet chaired by Prime Minister Narendra Modi on January 1st introduced key measures aimed for the welfare of farmers. Giving information about the cabinet decisions, Union Minister Ashwini Vaishnav said the allocation for Prime Minister Crop Insurance Scheme has been increased to more than rupees 69,000 crore. He also said that a separate fund of rupees 800 crore has been constituted for innovation and technology.
आज सबसे बड़ा एक फैसला लिया गया कि प्रधानमंत्री फसल बीमा योजना, a scheme which has really made a big difference in farmers' lives, उसका enhancement, उसके allocation को enhance किया गया, 69,515 करोड़ किया गया. साथ ही साथ एक 800 करोड़ रुपीस का फंड क्रिएट किया गया है, जो कि फंड फॉर इनोवेशन एंड टेक्नोलॉजी बेसिकली किसानों के संबंधित मामलों में टेक्नोलॉजी का उपयोग करके और स्पेशली इंश्योरेंस में, बीमा में फास्टर असेसमेंट हो. क्रॉप डैमेज अगर हुआ है, एडवर्स वेदर के कारण कोई प्रॉब्लम आई है, तो उसका असेसमेंट फास्ट हो, क्लेम सेटलमेंट फास्ट हो और टेक्नोलॉजिकल ट्रूथ से डिस्प्यूट्स में कमी आए.
India and Pakistan on Wednesday exchanged a list of nuclear installations and facilities covered under the agreement on the prohibition of attack against nuclear installation and facilities between the two countries. The exchange took place through diplomatic channels simultaneously at New Delhi and Islamabad. The agreement, which was signed on 31st of December 1988 and entered into the force on 27 January 1991, provides inter alia that India and Pakistan inform each other of the nuclear installations and facilities to be covered under the agreement on the 1st of January of every calendar year. This is the 34th consecutive exchange of such lists between the two countries, the first one having taken place way back on 1st of January 1992. Moving on, in the run-up to the Grand Mahakumbh 2025 that begins in Prayagraj on 13th of this month, a grand procession by Sri Shambhu Panchayati Atal Akhada made the atmosphere electrifying. Accompanied by traditional music and fanfare, the royal procession entered the Mahakumbh Mela premises, showcasing its spiritual and cultural magnificence. Devotees were blessed with darshan of Lord Ganesha's idol central to the procession. Renowned Prayagraj artist Rajendra Tiwari carried this symbolic Amrit Kalash on his head, inviting people to participate in Mahakumbh 2025 and promoting the message of keeping the Ganga river clean and pristine. Meanwhile, the Uttar Pradesh government has made extensive arrangements to ensure Mahakumbh 2025 is a memorable and divine experience for all. For the past few months, an army of workers have been diligently channeling the rivers, widening roads, levelling ghats to transform the city in anticipation of one of the largest religious events in the world. Additionally, the government has introduced an artificial intelligence-powered chatbot, Kumbh Sahayak, to assist pilgrims with navigation, cultural information and travel updates. And the Indian Railways is leaving no stone unturned in making the journey to Mahakumbh easy and safe for the pilgrims, and more than 10,000 regular and 3,134 special trains are being run by the railways. Out of these, 1,800 trains will be run for short distance and 700 trains for long distance. A total of 560 ticketing points are being made available at 9 railway stations. Moreover, in view of the heavy crowd in Mahakumbh 2025, more than 18,000 personnel of Railway Protection Force and State Railway Police are being brought to Prayagraj city on duty from all parts of Indian Railways. Mahakumbh 2025 has now become a status symbol for people on New Year. From WhatsApp status to X platform and Instagram and Facebook Reels, Mahakumbh is becoming increasingly popular. People are highly attracted and impressed by the preparations and decorations of the holy fair, and the entire fair area is glowing with more than 67,000 lights at night. The viral reels and videos related to the Mahakumbh are constantly making its way to the trending list. According to the influencers, people are keen to know much about the upcoming Mahakumbh as they are liking more such kind of videos, such kind of content. Meanwhile, online payment companies have also started promoting the grand religious mega festivals. Many companies, including Paytm, have distributed new barcode scanners to the vendors in which the Grand Mahakumbh has been branded. In the new year, Indian government has offered an innovative gift to its citizens who are engaged in teaching, studying or research work, and this is a unique program, One Nation, One Subscription, which is aimed at providing access to thousands of research articles and journals on a single platform to those in higher educational institutes beginning today, that's 1st of January 2025. It's new and unique scheme with no parallels existing in the country till now. There is a report by Nishant Saurabh on what the One Nation, One Subscription scheme includes.
In a historic decision, the central government has approved the One Nation, One Subscription scheme, which seeks to make academic research accessible to everyone. With a budget of 6,000 crore rupees, this scheme will be implemented over 3 years from 2025 to 2027. Starting January 1st, the first phase will make more than 13,000 journals available to over 6,300 government academic and research and development institutions. The scheme will provide over 1.8 crore students, teachers and researchers free access to thousands of journals and high-quality research publications. Students from Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities will also benefit from this initiative. It is expected to promote interdisciplinary research in the country, benefiting scholars and research from various fields.
We are expanding this access to our state public universities and other universities who do not have any budget to subscribe to these journals. So it is available to all the readers, particularly state public universities who earlier did not have funds, or affiliated colleges who did not have funds to subscribe to this.
The One Nation, One Subscription scheme involves 30 leading international journals publishers covering areas such as science, technology, engineering, mathematics, medicine, management, social sciences, and humanities. Beneficiaries will have access to complete collection of journals published by each participating publisher. This initiative expands upon the efforts made over the past decade to provide quality higher education to India's youth. It will complement the government's National Research Foundation initiative, which aims to foster a culture of research and innovation across government universities, colleges, and research institutions. By enhancing the ease of doing research for students, teachers, and researchers at government institutions, the scheme aspires to establish India as a global research ecosystem. One Nation, One Subscription scheme. Objective to make academic research accessible to all, budget of 6,000 crore rupees. Implementation over 3 years. Launch of first phase on January 1st, 2025. Over 13,000 journals for 6,300 plus government academic and R&D institutions. Beneficiaries include 1.8 crore plus students, teachers, and researchers. Free access to thousands of journals and high-quality research publications. Benefits extended to students from Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities. Focus on promoting interdisciplinary research, benefiting scholars and researchers across fields. 30 leading international journal publishers participating. Subjects include science, technology, engineering, mathematics, medicine, management, social sciences, and humanities. Full access to the entire collection of journals by participating publishers will be ensured. Nishant Saurabh's report for DD India.
Well, that's all for this edition of DD India Live, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India mobile app. This app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. You can scan the QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Sakal Bhatt, and from all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India Live.